For 60 years, Myanmar has been ruled by the military, 6 decades marked by crackdowns and suppression of dissent. The military has been responsible for Myanmar's woes in the past. Take the Rohingya crisis, for instance. The United Nations has described them as the world's most persecuted minority. More than 740,000 Rohingya have fled the country since 2017. Their persecutors were the military, the same military that has now grabbed power in the country. The allegations against them are serious. The Myanmar military burned down villages, massacred thousands and raped hundreds of Rohingya women. All of this has been recorded in testimonies by survivors. They describe the soldiers as ruthless plunderers. It is easy to blame the foot soldiers for these crimes, but it was the senior commanders who gave out the orders. Brigadiers and generals who wanted villages burnt and mass graves dug, and armies sanctioned genocide. But such is the power of the Myanmar army that even the civilian government backed them. Remember Aung San Suu Kyi's defense at the International Court? It was her effort to defend the military, to earn their goodwill. But the army seems unwilling to reciprocate. They have ousted Suu Kyi and charged her with multiple crimes. It is a lesson for leaders around the world. Military regimes have their own interests, and public interest rarely features in it. The military transferred power to civilians in the year 2011, but they never actually gave up their powers. The Myanmar military is the second largest standing army in the region after Vietnam. The constitution grants them seats in the parliament, and a quarter of the budget is dedicated to their expenses. Politically and economically, they are a force to reckon with. And we are seeing evidence of that right now. Massive protests and anti-coup demonstrations, but the military is unmoved. The protests continue, and so does the crackdown. The military's brutal clampdown has triggered another exodus, this time across the border to India. Protesters are fleeing the ruthless security forces. They are escaping illegal detention. And this includes police personnel who are unwilling to carry out the junta's orders. They say they were asked to beat up, arrest and torture the anti-coup protesters. This has put neighboring countries, including India, in a spot. They are being forced to welcome refugees in the middle of a pandemic. The world response has been limited to statements and sanctions and condemnation. They have now proven to be ineffective, at least so far. The United States and the European Union have imposed sanctions. They are targeting the junta leader and his family, but sanctions are not new for Myanmar's military. Most of their leaders were sanctioned during the Rohingya crackdown. This may have nudged them towards partial reforms, but they continue to hold an iron grip over the country. So what are the army's motives here? Why do they continue to sabotage civilian governments? Here's the first thing you need to know about Myanmar's military. They have strong views on religion, on politics, and on the economy. The army is dominated by Burmese-speaking Buddhists. They advocate majoritarian nationalism. This explains the ethnic cleansing of the Rohingya Muslims. Plus, senior officers double up as businessmen. They own stakes in lucrative ventures and have used their political power to fill their pockets. A civilian government could possibly investigate these discrepancies, so the army never lets go of control. There is a reason most countries opt for division of powers. There is a reason they keep armies under civilian control. At the end of the day, it's about culture. Once the army gets a taste of political and economic power, they refuse to let go. We have seen this in Pakistan over the years. Myanmar is no different. As they say, a thinking soldier is an asset, a plotting soldier is a threat. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.